It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hey, Kiwi here, and welcome to Divas That Care.com. We are super blessed to introduce to you guys today Darla DeGrande, a true diva out of San Diego, California, and truly blessed to be here. Honored to interview Darla. I titled this video A Serial Entrepreneur, and she is. I have watched this woman grow and just multiply things, multiply people, multiply businesses. I am in partnership with her in one business. I'm super excited to share about that. And then Darla is also a coach. She's a mentor. She gives a lot of time for free. And so anyway, who are you, Darla? Tell us about you. Give us a little background.
I am an excited person trying to figure out how to share this to my wall. You're so smart in all the things that you know, and I'm like, if you could teach me how to share this to my wall, we'd be good. I think I just did it, though. Kiwi, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm excited to be here. I've always wanted to connect with you on your show, and this is a great time. Let's have some fun here. A little bit about me. Well, how many hours do we have? It is short. I come from the hair world, everybody. That's my background. And if you would have ever if you would have ever told me I'd be doing what I do today, I would have told you that you're crazy, and there's no way, because my dreams and goals after 19 years of building high-end hair salons was to build a legacy of high-end salons for my daughter, and that's what she was going to inherit, and that's who she was going to be. And it's funny how God takes control and takes us down different paths, isn't it? So that's what happened in 2008. The crash of 2008 came. At that time, I had 49 employees. We were 100% debt-free, living in our dream house. We had it all going on. We did it all right. Invested in stocks and real estate, like most people do. And I had 16,000 clients. We were building our 5th location at the time in Palm Springs, California area. So we were going on El Paseo, which was like Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. We were the largest salon, day spa, not connected to a resort. We had it all going on. We did it all right. Lots of years of hard work. And then the recession came and it annihilated my clientele. My clientele were the upper class. They were the ones that were spending $100 and $200 just for haircuts. It was nothing to drop. $500 to get your hair colored and highlighted every 6 weeks. And people would fly in from all over the country and get rolled up in their limousines, and nothing under $100,000 in cars parked out front any day of the week. And that was our clientele. And our clientele got hit first by the crash of '08, and that affected me, and then came crumbling down everything. And so we were like a lot of people, spinning plates, trying to rob Peter to pay Paul and hang on to what we had, and closing down locations and downsizing and laying off really great people that had been with us for many years, because they were making over 6 figures. These stylists were big stylists because we had big ticket items. So our payroll was $55,000 every 2 weeks, if you can imagine that. Overhead, $150,000 a month. I still can't believe that was the world I knew, because it was all I knew. And so it was March 26th of 2008 that a local business, that's the day that the banks pulled back the $100,000 credit lines, number one. And it was also the day I was sitting at my desk, and it's kind of like this. I had monitors all over, but the monitors looked out into the hair salons and the spas and stuff, and I could see all parts of the salon. And I looked up on my monitor, and I looked down into the lobby, and this guy, a local businessman that had been driving me crazy for 4 months to look at his thing that I had no idea what it was about, but I had a false perception of what it was. And he was in my lobby to come prospect me one more time. And I was like, dude, you picked the worst day. And I'm telling you, Kiwi, that day changed my life. A little voice inside me said, why won't you listen? And that Sunday, and you've heard this story 500,000 times, that Sunday in church was when this pastor told the story of the big flood. There's a flood and they send someone to rescue the guy and he says, no thanks, God's going to save me. And he sends him away and he ends up dying and goes to heaven and says to God, why didn't you save me? I had faith in you. And he said, son, who do you think sent you the boat, the plane, and the helicopter? I was like, could this be that? Because I had been crying myself to sleep every night, praying to God, please, Lord, please, what's my lesson? How am I going to get out of this? Please don't let me lose my home. I can't lay off any more people. By that time, I'm just exhausted, stressed, like crying myself to sleep every night. And the little voice said, why won't you listen? And that decision to listen changed my life. I told my husband, he only wants 30 minutes. And he's like, what? You can't do that today? We got to figure out how to cover payroll. And I'm like, I know, but something inside of me is telling me I need to listen. And by listening to that voice, changed my life. I went to his presentation, which I didn't understand at all, made no sense to me because it was all about telecom and cell phones and that kind of stuff, and I didn't understand any of that. But something said, trust me, and that little voice, and I know it was God because I've walked this walk now for nearly 12 years with zero fear and total faith, and he's led me every step of the way. And you know how the story goes from there. I went on getting started in that company. I was $20,000 overdrawn in my payroll account that day. I had no money and rights to be getting started in anything. And I went back to my husband and I said, I need a check. This was back in the days of checks. And he looked at me and he's like, we don't have any money. I said, I know. I'm going to write a hot check. And I wrote a hot check. And that hot check went on to change our life. And you know, I don't know what all depth details you want me to get into with that journey, but we climbed our way out of our hole and turned our life around, set our family free, and learned something new, you know, reinvented our life. And that is where I got my first experience in this thing called network marketing, but I had no clue what it even was when I got started. Had no clue. And that's why I love this industry so much, because it set my family free. And like, you know, it gives people hope, you know, in a world where it's really difficult to be able to reach freedom in the traditional, especially right now. Gosh, with what's going on, I think about this I don't know what you guys are like where you're at, but we are on total lockdown. You can't even leave without a mask on. It's crazy. It's total lockdown. They're getting ready to reopen though. And I tell people, if you got furloughed or you got laid off during this quarantine, you're the lucky one because you got the opportunity to do something different.
That's
Your
right.
friend that thinks they're lucky because they didn't get laid off, oh, I'm so blessed and I'm so lucky I didn't lose my job. And I'm like, no, because let me tell you what's going to happen when this is all over. You're going to be working the longest, hardest hours of your life for the least amount of pay. And you're not getting a raise for a very long time. And benefits are not going to be like they were because there's going to be so many people willing to work for half the amount of money than they were getting paid before. And it's going to be like that for a really long time. It's sad.
Yeah, so let's talk then. So, because I didn't mean to jump in, but I was like, I love your story. I love your hair story. One thing I love about it is that you were also like a mentor. You had a school. So you were bringing stylists in, teaching them through apprenticeship, sending them out on their way, or they could stay there. So that's number one. And then secondly, the reason I fell in love with Darla, you came to North Carolina for a women's event. I had just joined that same company we were in. And by the way, Darla and I were not like on the same line. She came to California to help out another leader in the area. I had just joined. I definitely wanted to go to a women's event, right? I wanted to see some of the top women in the industry. I was real new to the industry. And anyway, I don't know if you know, Darla, I had sought you out because that's what I do. I like to see who's coming. And you had a hotline. And I would listen to you every day. You poured your guts into the phone. It was a conference number. And you just poured your heart and soul into it. You're like, I don't know who's listening, but I'm going to keep doing it. And I was listening. And I don't know if you know, but when you came to North Carolina, that event, we went outside and you were there and I wanted to shake your hand and say, hey, we ended up talking for about 30 minutes. I don't know if you remember because I've done events before and there's lots of people and you can't remember.
Yeah.
but you breathed life into me, and you were like, you can so do this. You are a trainer. I see it, because when we were talking about training and how do I just go do it. I had a leader in my area that kind of had a lot of control and was doing all the training. You were like, so what? Go train your people, because you were training us today. I don't know if that day, I don't know if you remember, you did like a comp plan. You brought people up on stage. You were using real people. I'm like, this makes sense. I love the visual. And we have the same training styles. And then the other thing I definitely want to hit on is multiple streams, because you talk about network marketing, and that's just one stream. And how important is in this time, in this economy, we're in a digital age. Online is not going away. We need to embrace it. We need to learn it. We need to equip ourselves with skill. And then we should have no time, because we're out here sharing things we love, period. If it's in affiliate nature, networking nature, team building nature, whatever, we need to be doing that now, because times are shifting. I know that's a lot. So take us back to Darla's hotline. Talk about how anybody can do network marketing if they just invest in themselves, which then leads us into multiple streams. All yours. Yeah.
You know, it's so funny that you're saying the hotline. I forgot all about the hotline. I'm going to pull up that phone number and see if it still exists. Could you imagine if it was still there and I had that whole library of all those things? You're giving me an idea and a prompting to start something like that again. I love giving back to this industry, because you guys, this industry gave my family their life and set me free. I can go in so many directions, an hour down each direction, talking about how much I love this industry and what it'll give your life. And anybody can do this, and I'm going to prove it to you. I am not educated by any way, shape, or form. I'm a hairdresser. I did not do well in school. If I got a C, we went for ice cream. I dropped out in my senior year and finished in home studies. I didn't do well in school. I went to beauty school. Okay, that's what, I went to beauty school. I don't want to say that's what you do when you drop out of school when you're a girl, but that's what I did. And so I went to beauty school, and I was very fortunate when I was young that I had a good mentor in my life. And if you've never read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, please go read the book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. That was my story. My parents divorced when I was 9. I was the youngest of 3 kids. I was the accident. My sister was 10 years older than me. This was before child support. My dad didn't pay child support. My mom worked 3 jobs to raise these kids. I was raised in daycare. Okay, not so good things happened to me in daycare. I knew I didn't want my kid to go to daycare, and I didn't want to be like my mom. Now, let me clarify that. My mom is an amazing woman. I didn't want to be the mom that wasn't there for her children. Now, my mom's 85 years old, and she tells me all the time, honey, I don't know how you did it, but you figured out how to have the life that I always wanted. I always wanted to be there for you children. I always wanted to raise my own children. It killed me to drop you guys off at daycare and pick you up when you were sleeping, and sometimes not pick us up at all, and so that was my lesson. But here's the blessing behind that. Because I was raised in daycare, and because I didn't have a parent structure situation, I latched on and was very fortunate to have some good friends who were super wealthy. So I hung out at their house a lot. Their parents were always present. We played board games and cards every night. I practically lived there. I was so much like their daughter, they paid for my first wedding dress. Okay, this is how tight we were. And I learned what life, riding in limousines and walking into businesses and them knowing you by name, and having cleaning ladies clean your house instead of you on Sunday, and having chefs in your kitchen cooking for you instead of you having to cook. I got that taste, as well as I got the taste of what it was like to live in the other structure. Both parents are the same. They're both loving mothers. It's just that one got to be present and the other one didn't. So that was my lesson growing up. It turned out to be my blessing in disguise. And so I learned through that structure, don't work for the boss, be the boss. My mother hated her boss. She hated him. And she was always talking about how much she hated him. And you know why she hated him? Because he was always on vacation. He was always on vacation, and she was always on call. And I was like, okay, so I need to be on vacation. In order to be on vacation, I have to be the boss. I have to have people working for me who get paid a salary, because you don't have to pay them more. You can just work them more. All this is what my lessons are learning when I was growing up. So I get out of beauty school, I get my first job, and it turns out I'm really good at what I do. I find my passion and my purpose of making people feel beautiful. And my mother instilled some skills when in us children when we were really young, the skills of learning how to compliment people and tell them things that make them like you, how to put other people first. And it's the art of connections. My mother, she was a banker. She was a banker to the stars. Yeah, she did some pretty famous people. Or she banked for some pretty famous people. And so I go off and I get my first job, I do really well, and I get booked really fast, and I'm like, okay, the boss is sitting on the couch, a black leather couch, he's dressed all in black, and he's got a black BMW that's parked out front, and he lives in a big, beautiful home. Nobody here is doing that. Nobody here drives a BMW and lives in a beautiful home. I was very observant to those things. I'm like, I need to figure out how to be the boss and not work for the boss, or I'm going to be standing here like my friend for 9 years. I was like, my friend's been standing behind that chair for 9 years. That's all I could think about. She's been standing behind that chair doing hair, making him all this money for 9 years. So here's the funny story. I made friends with her and I said, hey, listen, let's go open up our own salon. She's like, oh no, I've got things so good here. I get benefits. I'm like, well, we can get benefits. She's like, no. I've got it so good here. I'm like, but I've done the math. We could make so much money. We'll train people to work for us like he's doing. I had this whole vision and she's like, no. So I got us fired and she had no choice. We went into business together. And so we went into business together and we started our first salon, and we didn't have any money. We rented 2 little chairs out of this big leasing salon. And we're young kids, but we had a clientele because we had people that we'd been doing their hair. And we didn't have money for advertising. But here's the thing, Kiwi. When I was a little kid, like you and many of us when we're little, we read the Guinness Book of World Records. I was reading the Guinness Book of World Records all the time, trying to figure out how I'm going to get in the Guinness Book of World Records. I tried everything, pogo sticking and everything, I never made it in the Guinness Book of World Records. But I do remember a story that I read in the Guinness Book of World Records about the world's #1 salesman. His name was Joe Girard, and he was a car salesman. And he would show up to work every day, and clients would be lined up to do business with him. He wouldn't even have to try and sell them a car. And the way that he did it is he sent them handwritten cards. He used to handwrite them thank you cards, nice to meet you cards, happy birthday cards. He would send the car a card, tell them a happy anniversary. And so I remembered that. And I told my girlfriend, I said, we don't need advertising. I know how we're going to do it. And so I went and I bought these cards, and they were back in the day, just a box of cards, white, black print, and we would write thank you cards. And that's where it all started. And we wrote thank you cards, and we started building this clientele, and we started building referrals, more thank you cards, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. So we grow from that salon to another salon, and in each salon, it's part of the protocol for each employee that they must send a thank you card and a nice to meet you card. We had index boxes with January, February, March, April, May, June, all the way to December, with the clients' names and their birth dates and their address in there, and we'd mark it off. We sent the birthday card every year, and we'd file those away. And that's how, this is back, 25, 30 years ago. Wow, that's a long time ago. And then so 9 years in, I heard about this thing called a day spa, and I was like, day spa? I heard about it from San Francisco and in Minnesota because of Aveda, the salon Aveda did day spas. And I'm like, I want to open a day spa. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. So I said, okay, well, let's go our separate ways. And we went our separate ways. She stayed small, and I opened the city's first day spa. Well, I just so happened to be in the right industry at the right time because I hit that boom, came the day spa boom. And it was day spa after day spa after day spa, and we did really well. We climbed and grew and climbed and grew, and grew that to a total of 5 locations, 49 employees at one time, like I told you when we started. And with each one, it kept growing to the point where I was implementing mail rooms in our salon, like an entire room that had desks and computers and printers and employees, and that was their only job. Running reports, printing cards, putting every label, stamping on it, and just fine. We would send hundreds and thousands of cards. And that is how we grew to be the top salon. We even made it, you can see right there, the top 200 fastest growing salons in the country. And here's what makes this more special than any salon. We were a school, like Kiwi told you. We were not a salon. I trained every single one of my hairdressers. They were average people off the street that said, I want to become a hairdresser and I don't want to go to beauty school. I didn't want people to go to beauty school because I wanted to train them how to do hair my way so that I could be unique. I reinvented the hair industry. And so it worked. It's funny, I found an old flyer. I'm actually the inventor of the highlighting board, for those of you that know what highlighting is. And I found one of my old brochures where I used to sell highlighting with a VHS in it. And it was how to highlight hair, and it came with a whole kit, and people would order it online. So funny. And so we were the only school, apprenticeship school, that made that top 200 list. And I can tell you with all of everything in me, every ounce of it is because we knew how to build relationships. We told people, thank you for the role that you're playing in our business journey. And we fried hair all the time. We would fry it, cut it bad, cut the bangs too short, bleach the hair off, perm the hair off, color it red when they didn't want red because it was a school. But they kept coming back because we appreciated them and we thanked them for their loyalty, and they played a role. We made them feel like they were a part of this journey that was this dream that was being created, and they were. And so that's what led me to where I got to be where I was, my growth of fame. Now, or success. Fame in the hair world, success in business. And I never heard of this company called Send Out Cards. Never heard of it. In 2000 and forget what year the internet was born exactly, but when this thing called email was born, we stopped sending cards and we went to emailing. We did what everybody else did. We started emailing because why not? Faster, no more payroll, get rid of the employees, get rid of the paper, no more stamps, no more trips to the post office. This is a genius thing. And back then in the beginning, email was not a saturated thing like it is today. It's all spammed out and full. But here's what happened. When we started going to email, we removed the personal touch. We took away that personal touch, and until a few years passed, could we recognize the damage that it did to our business because we stopped being personal. Mm-hmm. And then got out of the salon industry, went into network marketing, was in my first company for 4.5 years. Then I went to a health and wellness company, did that for a couple of years. And then I was searching for my next company. What am I going to do? So I want to split there, and I want to come back to a point that that will tie the two roads together. So in the salon industry, I thought I was recession proof. I thought that because I went through the crash of '92, it did not affect me at all. I thought, oh my gosh, people don't stop doing their hair when they go broke. This is great. Salons are recession proof. So then I started my climb, building, growing, just putting everything into growing salons and investing because I knew that I was recession proof. I'm like, I got it. I'm in the industry that's never going to fail because I never expected what was going to happen when the crash came in '08. The reason why I made it through the crash of '92 is because it didn't affect my clientele that I was targeting it and marketing to. My clientele was a certain middle class, okay? And then in '08, it affected my clientele big time. So I had all my eggs in one basket, all of them. I had all these salons and then in stocks and real estate. Okay, so you could call that multiple streams of income, but they were all tied together because they all had to do with the higher income type of people. So I crumbled. And I said to myself, oh my gosh, I thought having 5 salons was multiple streams of income, but it's not. 5 salons is still salons. They're still going to crash. Look what's happening in the world today at all the salons. Overnight, out of business. If all those hairdressers were only on one stream of income, they're out of business. Yep. Then I get into network marketing, and I get into my first company, and I happen to do really well, really fast. I broke 7 figures in my first 3 years. We had it all going on. We climbed back to the world that we knew. We had rebuilt our network. It was all great and wonderful. And like business is business. Look what's happening in the world today. All the businesses that close before today. Look at all the businesses that close. It's business. Cycles happen. Business happens. Life happens. Okay. Businesses close no matter if they're brick and mortar or click and order. They're all the same. It's just that one has a shell and one has the web, but they're all the same. Because the definition of business is something that requires a transaction between a customer to a product or a service for a profit. A transaction. So it doesn't matter if it's done through a building or through a website. Business is business. Okay, I want you guys to understand that. It has nothing to do with network marketing. It's business. They're all the same. So that company got shut down, and overnight I was broke. I was broke, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I broke again. What am I going to do? So then I'm soul searching, because you only have a few ways to make money. You can go work a job. And I know there's no job in the world that can pay me what I'm worth, nor can I go get. I don't have a degree or anything like that, and no special skills. In I don't do hair anymore. So I'm not going to get a job. I'm not going to open another traditional business because I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest in 3 years of time to build it. And I don't want to be in the adult daycare business anymore. I'm over that, because that's what being in a hair salon is. So it was, then I had I could be an investor. Well, I didn't have any money to be an investor. So then I realized I have to be in network marketing. So that's when I really, truly became a network marketing professional. My first journey was where I learned network marketing, because I had never done it before. But it wasn't until I realized, oh my gosh, this industry is for me. Yes. Because it allows me to take my passion of loving people, the art of creating relationships, which is business. You're either creating relationships, they're either followers, fans, supporters, believers, or customers. Followers, fans, supporters, believers, or customers. Followers, if you have a YouTube channel or whatever, you've got followers. Believers, if you have a church, ministry. Fans, if you're a musician or an artist. Supporters, nonprofit. Customers, business. You get it? They're all the same. And so I'm like, wow, the only way I can make the type of money that I want to make, touch the world, is do it through the web and do it through network marketing, because I cannot create wealth with the works of my own two hands. I cannot, if you work with your two hands, you can't create wealth. Right. If you're a hairdresser, you can only create what your two hands can do on the customer's head that it's touching. If you're a painter, if you're a mechanic, if you're a gardener, if you're a cleaning lady, if you are someone who writes with a pen all day long, if you're a medical transcriptionist, you can only do what your hands can produce. In order to create wealth, you need an army of these working for you or with you. That's why I had all those hairdressers working for me. And then when I got in network marketing, I built a team of over 42,000 people all over the country that were working with me. Get it? That's network marketing. So that's when I fell in love with network marketing. Then I got started in my next company, which was health and wellness, because that was the boom of health and wellness. That was the beginning of health and wellness, and everybody started adding health and wellness onto their menu, and that's where that journey went. Did that, climbed again to a great position in that company, and then that company got closed. So now here I am again. I did it again. I went broke overnight. Oh my gosh, how is this happening to me? And then the light bulb went off in my head. I'm not diversified. I'm not diversified with multiple streams of income. And then it hit me, and I'm like, 30. That's my number. I'm going for 30 streams of multiple income, and I don't care if it's $50 in this one, $500 over here, $3,000 over here, $10,000. I want diversified multiple streams of income. And so that's what's led us to what I talk about today. I still love the industry. I love business. I love multiple streams of income.
Love it. I love it. Okay, which is the next, the kind of next question. So I watched a video you did with your send out card team. It was a accountability call. I was just kind of scooping you out again before we had our interview. Everything you said in that video, I'm like, yes, that's it. So my goal a year ago, Darla, was 15 streams. That was a year ago. I didn't think 30 yet. I was just trying to get to 15. And like you, my first company, I was a baby. I'm like, this is a great industry, but I had such an archaic mindset because of the leadership and mentorship of, oh, you can only do this one thing right here. This is it, right? And then the second time around, it was the same thing as that mentality. So now it's like, oh no, I don't put my eggs in one basket. There is a professional and tactful way to network market without trampling on people and cross recruiting and all that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about genuinely offering products and services to people we know, period. They buy, I get paid. That's simple, right? And we teach other people. But anyway, so I am at 12 streams.
Wow.
12 streams. That you had said in the video, you were telling about this dream you had, this vision you had, you made a big investment, and come to find out your Shuffle account, when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't checked Shuffle. I went immediately and checked my Shuffle, and I had a lot of money in there. So that was even another stream that I didn't even realize I had, because it doesn't give you emails. Like, it doesn't tell you, hey, you got money here. When you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's another stream. And just from staying in motion, staying in action, I'm now up to 12 streams. Yeah. It's insanely incredible. And the thing is, it's not that I'm over here like high on a hog and rich. It's like what you're saying. It's a compound. 50 in this account, 100 in this account. Oh, there's 300. Oh, well, there's 20. That adds up. And when you talk about in a crisis, when people are worried about job loss, right? Isn't it nice to have 3 or 4 things paying you that you can build and invest in your time and grow and get those incomes up higher? So with that, let's talk about send out cards, because that's where you are now, and that's where we have a partnership, and through LFI Shuffle. Talk about, I love send out cards. Send out cards, everybody in business should be doing that. They should be sending cards, period. Whether you build the business or not, like, this is definitely something we all need to have. So let's talk about the company and talk about that as a tool. And then anything else you want to share as well, Darla?
I do want to make one thing clear, because when people in network marketing companies watch me or listen to me, before you understand what Send Out Cards is about and you're in network marketing, you know that the only reason somebody else in network marketing would be calling you is to recruit you. And that's not the case. When somebody calls me, 99 times out of 100, they're looking to recruit me so that I can go to their business and bring my team. When 100% of the time, when I call somebody in network marketing, I do not want to recruit them. I want them to stay with the business that they're at, and I want to show them how to build their network even bigger by strengthening their relationships. Now, if you're in business, it doesn't matter if you're a realtor, a mortgage lender, or a network marketer. If you've been in your business or your industry or the same company or whatever for 15 years, you should not be still recruiting. You should have the most incredible, loyal, long-standing, and dedicated clientele that's been with you for all those years. And if you don't, it's because they're falling out the bottom, because the number one reason why somebody leaves you is a perceived indifference. They think you don't care about them. So in the beginning, when you have a small organization, you love on your people. But as you grow, you get less time to love on your people. And as you grow, they start feeling like you don't care about them anymore, because now you've got other people. And where Send Out Cards comes in, I don't do Send Out Cards. I use Send Out Cards.
Yeah, I love it.
Send Out Cards is the glue and the foundational structure that holds all my networks together. I don't have to prospect or recruit. All I do is love on people. That's all I do, is love on people. I feed a gratitude pipeline like you can't believe, that goes out to the universe, and the universe does with it what it wants. It connects with people that are looking for something. It connects with people that want mentorship. People come back to me on a daily basis and fall into all of my businesses on a daily basis. And when I look at these people and where they came from, they're not somebody that I've prospected. They're not somebody that I've recruited. There's somebody who got a birthday card for me, or a sympathy card because their mother passed away, or somebody who got an anniversary card because I saw it was their anniversary on Facebook. I was just opening some cards right now, and I got a couple cards back in the mail because the address was wrong that I need to resend out. And I just want to show you what I'm talking about. So when I see this is the best late birthday card ever, because I like grabbing the memory from the person's birthday. So this is a post that a friend of mine made about his wife on her birthday, about what an amazing woman, how beautiful and classy and loyal and brilliant and everything about his wife. I just dropped this quote, this post that the husband made about the wife, and put it on a card and sent it to the wife. The wife doesn't know me. I know the husband. I know the husband because he's my friend, but the wife doesn't know me. When the wife gets this in the mail and sees the husband's post and reads what I write on this card, what do you think that does? It releases a shot of dopamine that goes to the brain to say, oh my gosh, this is the nicest thing I've ever seen. And then it builds the love again between the husband and the wife. Honey, oh my gosh, who is this person? And look what she just sent me in the mail. And oh, I love this post and I'm going to cherish it forever. The response that she gets from holding the post in her hand is not the same response she gets when she sees it on Facebook.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, it's gone. It's gone in a social media second.
Right.
This is going to hang on her wall and sit by her bedside for a lifetime. It's going to go from move to move to move to move. It will even be passed on to her children when the children are older because she's holding one of her children.
Yep.
That's the power of what this does. I get a phone call from these people to say, and then they, not only a phone call, they put it on my Facebook, they blow me up, they say, you're the most amazing person, I love you so much, and I've never even met you. Think about that. That's the tool that this does. Did I do that for monetary gain? No, I didn't do that for monetary gain. I did it because, number one, it makes me feel good to know what this is going to do inside of another human being, and I know what it's going to do for a marriage. It's going to make the husband and the wife have a better relationship, which then makes the husband appreciate me even more and strengthen our friendship. It's the glue. I'm telling you, you guys, it's the glue. And look at this one. Just a little note to let you know that I'm thinking of you. And look at this. It's a little piece of my heart. And in the card it says, Dear so-and-so, I wanted to recognize, acknowledge, and honor your mother's life with this card and you with some extra love. I can only imagine how much you miss her, especially on Mother's Day. Much love from my heart to yours. This is for people whose mother passed away. I put effort into finding whose mothers have passed away. I just made a post and said, yes or no, is your mother still alive? Hundreds of people commenting, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, no, she's been gone 6 years, no, I miss her so much, blah, blah, blah. The people that messaged me and posted on my Facebook and thanked me and told me that it made the first Mother's Day they had, their heart happy. I mean, it goes endless, you guys. It's the glue. So by me making that post on Facebook, yes or no, is your mother still alive? It brought the lurkers and the stalkers and the people who don't really comment but look on to my Facebook to make a comment. It drew them onto I say it's my Charlotte's web theory. I create a way to draw them onto my web, and then I crawl over to them and I spin them with love and kindness for the rest of their life. And that's what Send Out Cards allows you to do. Because not only do I get to send this card to them once, but when I put them in my system, I add their birthday, I add if they're a mother or a father, I put them in the mother's group or father's group, if they have children, if they're a grandparent, if they're a veteran, and I touch them throughout the year. If they're married, I add their spouse's name. If there's children, I put that, because people put all that on Facebook. And then a relationship is born. This is the glue. This is the tool that everybody needs to attract instead of pitch, hunt, or sell.
Yep.
Maintain, retain, and grow through referrals, because people start talking about you and telling their friends about you and tagging you on Facebook and saying nice things about you. It allows you to stop hunting, pitching, selling, and promoting, and start appreciating and loving and caring and attracting. It's the law of reciprocity. Treat others the way you wish them to treat you in return, and you'll never have to sell again.
Yes, I love it. And I also use these cards in my coaching business as well. And every client that does business with me on their birthday, they get even a gift card. Send Out Cards allows us to add a gift. We can add brownies, all kind of stuff. And I believe in breaking the internet with kindness. I have a class called Story Sell, and that's what we promote. That's our mission. that goes a long way. But when people also get a card from those pictures and stories, on that card, it's life-changing. And you know it's provoked because they'll go and put it on Facebook. They'll message you. They'll text you. And you're like, wow, I just sent a card, you know? So I love it. I love it. Okay. So last question. Let's talk about your art of human connection. I think you call it MAC or MOC, M-A-C.
Master the Art of Human Connections.
Okay. Let's talk about that real quick. And then
I have a shirt on. Let me show it to you.
Okay.
So master the art of human connections, and see how the hands are around the heart.
Yeah.
When you focus on the heart instead of the mind and the head, when you focus on other people's hearts, by the way, this is when you tap into the riches of relationships, which are where the heart is. Stop focusing on things for the pocket. So where did master the art of human connections come from? It's coaching. I've always been a coach, whether it was in the hair salon days or network marketing days, but now I teach people the art of connections. If you take yourself back to being a kid when you're born, you know how to talk, we cry. We know how to hear unless we're deaf, and we know how to see unless we're blind. But when you go to school, you're only taught how to read and write. You're not taught how to listen, how to speak, and how to communicate and connect. It's not taught in school. And if you think about the number one reason why relationships fail, because of communication, therefore the lack of. People don't know how to listen. They don't understand communication. Okay, so that, number one. And then if you think of success of anything, whether it's an opportunity that something happens to you in the world, whether it's a referral that somebody brings to you, whether it's a new friend that you meet, or love that you end up falling in love with and marry for the rest of your life, whether it's a transaction in business, anything, they're sandwiched between two relationships. Somebody telling another person, introducing them to you. That's where networking comes in. That's how you met all your friends. You know the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but if you don't know the book, you get it by the title, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The person who can tap into the emotion of another person the fastest wins. It's that simple. The person who can get from the head to the heart the fastest wins. And these cards, look at this awesome card. It's a thank you card from my friend Jamie Q, who's a big broker out of Boston, who has over 500 and something agents on his teams. This company does over $1 billion, okay? He's actually one of my clients in NAC. And look at this awesome card. This is his lake view. He took a picture of 2 chairs on the lake, and it says, which seat do you want and which one for Jim? Kids play in the water all day. That's an invitation to come to his lake house in Boston. This is what happens when you're nice to people. You tap into the riches of relationships. This is opportunity, friends, and love. So that's what I'm talking about. And when you learn how to do this, it opens everything. And it starts with here. So the course is a year long. People renew for multiple years. But I do it for a year versus just a month or on a weekend or a couple weekends for a reason. When you go to an event and you're at a big conference and you're all excited, I'm so fired up, I'm going to change the world, this is it, I'm going to go back, I'm going to change my life, I'm going to do everything I wrote down. And 2 days later after you get home, you're right back to where you started from.
Yeah.
Nothing changes. And the reason why is you lost your force field. You lost the energy that was surrounding you that gave you the courage. I call it your training wheels. So when you go to those events, you get some training wheels, put on your courage. And then what happens is you leave and the training wheels stay there and they move on to the next event. Mm-hmm. But when you're in my course, I'm your training wheels. The training wheels are on you and they stay with you until you loosen up the training wheels and you take off and you fly. But it starts within you. Until you learn how to communicate and connect with this person right here, you can't communicate and connect with your children, you can't communicate and connect with your spouse, you can't connect with your neighbors, your customers, and strangers that you walk into. It's about learning how to tip your vibrational frequency towards you instead of distracting. Many people vibrate in a distracting sense where, oh gosh, here they come, look out, or you get sent to voicemail. Are you the type of person that when you call someone's phone, they put someone on hold to answer the phone? Are you the type of person when you're walking up the hallway, the person runs outside to greet you on the hallway because they're so excited to see you? Becoming that type of a person. It's an art and it's not taught in school, and we were very fortunate to learn it many years ago in the build of our salons. We had all these young kids that worked for us and we couldn't communicate with them, lots of them. And so we went and took a course. And the course was a year long, and it was a course on learning how to understand character styles and understanding the way people are and the way that they click. And we went 2 days a week for 3 hours each day for the whole year. And it started all the way from childbirth and raising you up to talk to toddlers. And it's amazing, Kiwi, because we're so, like, for example, I don't know if you guys know this, but there is no such thing as the terrible twos. There's not. If you think you have a terrible two child, message me. I'm going to send you a lesson, and that will change today, instantly. And I will send it to you. Actually, it's on my website for free. It's one of the free lessons because it's the most popular. Terrible twos are created by the parents who were sold the idea that there is a thing called terrible twos. So therefore they bought into it and they accepted it, and they even told their child that they were going to be that way, and they labeled them as that, and off they went into the terrible twos. And the terrible twos are merely you not knowing how to communicate with your child. Once you learn how to communicate with a toddler, everything changes. And this lesson in 30 minutes will completely open your eyes. You'll be sending me a message saying, oh my gosh, my kid hasn't cried or thrown a fit again since. It's pretty powerful. And so learning the art of connection. It starts with you, it starts with your children, starts with your family, then it starts rolling out around the layers. And then what happens when you learn how to raise your vibrational frequency to a state of abundance, which is above the line. Below the line is, oh, these kids, and oh, this life, and oh, this house, and up here is where things are blessed and abundantly seeking, and they start coming towards you. And you realize one day, oh my gosh, I haven't cried in so long. I haven't yelled in so long. I have not gotten pissed off in so long. I am so blessed and grateful. I am what you call high on life. It's not a phrase, it's a reality. It's really a state of being. And you can get there very quickly if you're taught how. So this course has over 100 lessons in it. And you get 2 meetings with me a month where I personally am working with you on what you learned from the lesson to here and what you're dealing with in the life structure that you're in right there. And then we start taking it to your business. No matter what business you're in, we're going to talk about what your conversations are with your clients, how are you training your people, and it's all words. 100% of it is the words that you're using in order to be able to make the connection with the people that you're dealing with on a daily basis. So that's where it came from.
I love it. I love it. So we will drop Darla's website in the comments, which you can go ahead and share. It's darlad.com, right?
Tough one.
And we'd like to see that hotline come back for sure.
Oh, you've got me. That's the first thing I'm going to go look for when we get off the phone, because I know I still have the phone number in my phone.
And I'm just super blessed to be here with you today and being able to interview you, Darla.
Me too, Kibi. It was an honor and a pleasure. Have a blessed day, everybody.
Make sure that you check us out. We have a Facebook group here at Divas called The Change Makers Cafe. Also, you can catch us on Spotify, YouTube, you name it. We are everywhere. divasthatcare.com. We are super honored to serve you as we bring fabulous divas that we interview who are giving back to their communities, women in business, really taking, their life and sharing their stories and impacting other people. Truly blessed and honored to interview Darla DeGrande today. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check us out at divasthatcare.com. This is Kiwi signing off from Divas Network. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.